Hello and welcome to WRED's The Red Eye. I'm Oliver Work alongside my partner Parker Hubbell. What's going on in today's show?
Well, Oliver, today we'll be looking at a selection of new segments that our producers at WRED have put together.
First, we have Ploy, Jamison, and Wade's Pop Culture Roundup. Then, our producer teams have created a great set of segments featuring folks from around the community. We will be featuring IHS technology teacher Mr. Crywey, local businesswoman Patricia Nickles, and IHS student Aramis Guyton. We will also be featuring segments on IHS math teacher Miss Seifert and renowned music teacher Sandy Rooning.
Next, we'll be taking sports news. Avon and Brian are bringing us a report on the boys lacrosse team, and Molly and Zodi will be reporting on the girls team. Finishing up the show, we'll be featuring ICSD's Board of Education Vice President Seth Peacock's report on the Hall Assistant Support Staff members of IHS.
Looks like we have a lot on our plate. Better get started.
Oliver, are you getting pumped for Captain America 2? I'm thinking of going up to the IMAX theater in Syracuse for the midnight show.
Ha! Nice pop culture reference. Now let's watch what the experts have to say on the matter.
Hi, my name is Chris Goski, and this is Ithaca High School's Pop Culture Wrap-Up on your very own digital English media presentation of things. Right, things. Yeah. So, as I'm sure many of you have heard, there is a new online app called the Spritz that allows you to read something like 600 words per minute. It's actually really cool. What it does is, instead of having words, right, in a block of text, it takes a line of text and it moves it across a single point so your eyes stay stationary, and you can read it like 80,000 times faster, which is pretty rad. Actually, Hayao Miyazaki has made his last film, The Wind Rises. He will be quitting the business after this film goes out of theaters, which is kind of a disappointment if you really like things like Spirited Away, or, I don't know, Princess Mononoke, or Spirited Away, or Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away. Dong Nguyen, the man who created Flappy Bird, has hinted through Twitter that he will be putting Flappy Bird back up on the app market soon. So if you really like things that take away all your free time and are really, really stupid, be sure to look for that because it'll be coming back. The bank robber, Robert Jukes Baylor, otherwise known as King Romeo, has been apprehended by police because he took a Facebook photo of himself with his gun. I don't know if you ever wanted to go into being a criminal, but you don't post pictures of yourself with illegal items on the internet because people know who you are. Thank you. According to Stephen Hawking, who is a famous physicist, the population of Earth might soon be living on the moon. In approximately 50 years, according to the best estimates of Stephen Hawking, the Earth will be used up, which is bad news if you really like, I don't know, living here. So, be looking for that, because I'm sure most of the people looking at this will be around in 50 years. At least I hope so. That'd be very nice, right? It'd be nice to have people still here. So, Rose, Kate Winslet, has named her child Bear Blaze because her childhood nickname was Bear and she met her husband at a firehouse. Which is still kind of stupid. At least it's better than North, am I right? Miley Cyrus's bus has caught on fire. It pretty much stopped the party in the USA right in its tracks. However, no one was hurt, and she's still rolling, you know, for some reason. Malaysia Flight 370 out of Kuala Lumpur is still missing. The Malaysian government has recently been implicated, however, because of transmissions from the flight that suggested that things were going smoothly up until somebody took over the cockpit. So as to why Malaysia would hijack a plane that wasn't really theirs, who knows, right? But it's not aliens. I'm a little disappointed it's not aliens. I'm a lot disappointed it's not aliens. Can't something just be... Get me out of this. I need to talk about aliens.
Well, I, for one, will be purchasing beachside property on the moon ASAP.
For sure. Also, a special thanks to Chris Skoski for his hard work on the segment.
Up next, James Eddlestone has a report on IHS's very own Mr. Crywey and how he has grown the Code Red program in the past few years.
In Ithaca High School, there are many great teachers. A group of these incredible educators that is often missed by most students is the technology teachers that reside in E-Building. Among them is one of the best teachers in the school, Mr. Ian Crywey.
I'm Ian Crywey. I'm a technology teacher here at Ithaca High School.
Born and raised in upstate New York, Mr. Crywey initially didn't intend to become a teacher, even though he comes from a family of them. In high school, he took all of the technology classes that were offered, and was interested in video production, which is what he applied to college for. When he wasn't accepted into his top choice school, he changed his path and went to SUNY Oswego for technology education. Many students will agree that they are glad that he did, as his way of teaching and mentoring is superbly unique.
I think the cards fell the way that they should have. So now that I look back, I'm glad things happened the way they did. But I think teaching really is the best of all the worlds, because I do have that summer break where I'm not contractually obligated to be here at school or have any responsibilities with school. So I have 2 months a year where I could do whatever I wanted. All in all, it just seemed like a real good fit. I like working with my hands, and being a tech teacher kind of gives me access to skills that I wouldn't normally have in machines and things like that I normally wouldn't have had otherwise.
Having his summers off allows Mr. Crywey to pursue his many interests, such as BMX biking, working on just about anything with an engine, including four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and cars, and his passion for fixing things. As part of the school's ski club program, he is also able to fit his love of skiing into his school schedule. Mr. Crywey has been teaching at Ithaca High School for 9 years now, and in that time he has not only taught his students, but inspired them to work to the best of their abilities. In this time, there have also been some changes in both technology and the structure of the technology department.
So when I first got here, the project lead the way classes were strong, but they're, I'd say, twice as strong now as they were 9 years ago, which is great. I think the school, guidance administration, teachers, students, and parents are much more well educated about the classes, so we're getting the right kids, the right number of kids, and the kids that are coming out of the sequence after the 5th class, or even the 4th, or however far they get. They're going to engineering colleges, they're going into the workforce, whatever they're choosing to do, and they're pretty well prepared for what they're doing. The traditional tech classes, on the other hand, I think they're struggling a little bit more. The printing classes, the graphic design classes that we used to offer, architectural drawing, we used to offer a lot more sections per year than we did. We still have some interest, the classes still run, just not in the numbers or the quantities that they used to. So we still have a large number of kids within the tech program. There's just a shift in interest and a shift in where the kids are going. This past year we had the addition of the TV studio, which is a huge asset. That was a void that in the 8 years prior, we always had the space for the studio, but there was no equipment. There was, stuff was missing. It disappeared over the 10 years that there was no active studio. And it was always kind of a soft spot in my heart that I wanted that to be a studio again. The district in the last 9 years has been very supportive, which is great. A lot of my colleagues who teach in the districts don't have the good fortune that we've had to get new state-of-the-art equipment, and every year almost we can add one new piece of equipment that most schools don't have that are industry standards. So when kids get out, they can say, hey, I've used a laser cutter, I've used a 3D printer, I've used a CNC router, I've used a Bridgeport mill with CNC interface. That's stuff that I can't think of any friends who teach tech can say that they have all that stuff in their facilities. So that's how I've seen it change.
Mr. Crywey teaches several classes in the Project Lead the Way, or PLTW series of courses, from the intro class, Design and Drawing for Production, to Principles of Engineering, and finally the senior capstone course, Engineering Design and Development. Since he teaches several sequential courses, he has an opportunity that few teachers have, to get to work with students throughout their high school career, and to watch and help them develop. This, combined with his outgoing and engaging personality, results in him becoming as much a friend as a teacher to many students. Among some of the many things he does for the school and for his students, Mr. Crywey is the faculty advisor for the high school's first robotics team, WRED Robotics.
WRED Robotics, it's a robotics team through the first organization here at Ithaca High School. There's teams all over the world, and we have I'm going to describe it as a very successful and very large robotics team. Got here, and there's all these clubs. There's TSA, Technology Student Association, the robotics team, and all these other different clubs that were offered at the school, and I was kind of overwhelmed with the size of the school, with it being almost 4 times the size of my school. There was this robotics team that I saw as just this wacky bunch of kids that would meet in the wintertime and loved robots and loved computers, and I didn't really understand it at all. No one really was chomping at the bit to be the head advisor, and the program probably would have disappeared or something. So I said, you know what, I'll take this over. Found a replacement for TSA. I jumped into WRED, and at the first year I didn't really know what I was doing, what I was getting myself into. I knew that there was a good mentor and adult support base of parents behind me, so I wasn't totally lost and had a lot of help. Mr. Briegel helped out a lot with just making sure I knew what I was doing. Now I think I'm in my 5th or 6th year of this, and think I have a good handle on what's going on. I think the team is strong and growing in the ways that it needs to. The kids that come out of the program, I see the change that they've undergone and the love and appreciation they develop for engineering. More than robotics, I think. That's the important part. And the skills that they develop and take with them for whatever they're doing after high school, that's what keeps me going.
All in all, Mr. Crowley epitomizes the ideals of teaching. He is invested in his students and gets great joy from seeing them excel. He also coaches them through any failure, showing them how to rebound and learn from it. His influence goes well beyond the classroom of now, and is sure to impact the world of tomorrow.
From what I know, Mr. Carway is an excellent teacher and has advanced the Code Red department farther than some thought possible.
Wow, what an impressive feat. I wish I knew how to build robotics.
Next, we'll be looking into the work of local businesswoman Patricia Nickles. Wade Englehart has the story.
Today, I will be interviewing Patricia Nickles.
What?
She's a very interesting woman from Ithaca, New York,
Robotics.
a successful businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and has even started her own company just recently. She works for herself, and she has a few tips that she would like to share with you people on how you can be successful and about her life. So let's take a look inside the day in the life of Patricia Nickles.
It was all by mistake. Went to school to be a veterinarian and discovered that I don't like sick and hurt animals whatsoever. I only like to own them.
As you can see, she had a very interesting upbringing when it comes to her college education, and it had a very long-lasting effect on her business path and what she chose to do.
After I went to school, stopped school, went to school, stopped school, I graduated and was working the whole time, discovered that while I was working, I did enjoy business. When I graduated from school, I went, and it was the end of a big recession. Had to work as a waitress for quite a while, helped the manager out. Then I got a real life job in a bank and got promoted regularly and enjoyed it and learned a whole bunch of different things. Then when I got married, my husband was from a family that owned their own business, restaurants and stuff, and he owned a bar. Or his uncle owned the bar. We bought it from the uncle, and that's what started it all. I quit my job at the bank and started doing the books. And then when I noticed the accountant had been doing one part of the taxes incorrectly, I took over the taxes.
She's owned many businesses over a multitude of years and has experience in many different fields.
The first business we had was a bar downtown. Near downtown, they did construction on quite a few of the roadways and intersections that lasted about 2 years. And we owned the bar, I think, for 2 years before construction started. We kept it open and made zero money because there was no road in front of the bar, and opened dry cleaners. So that was for about 2 years until the roads were completed. We could have the bar still. Running two businesses at the same time that are so disparate is extremely difficult. So we sold the dry cleaners, stuck with the bar, realized that being in College Town was a good place to have a bar, and there was no dance club, so we opened one up there. Had that for 3 years probably, and then closed that.
After all this, she ended up starting her own company and working for herself as an accountant. Let's see a little bit about how that happened.
And through it all, I picked up clients for bookkeeping in addition, and I've been doing that for 10 years now. And like I said, I just opened my payroll company yesterday.
Finally, I wanted to find out if she had any helpful tips for young entrepreneurs who are starting their own business.
A smart business person would probably never go into business on their own. It is one of the most difficult things to do. Employees are the hardest. And unless you have worked in the business yourself for quite a few years and know all the ins and outs, don't even think of starting your own business. And even then, starting your own business is extremely difficult.
As you can see, she's a very successful business person. She has a lot of good ideas, and a lot of people in this world should take a few notes off her. She knows what she's doing, and she's not by luck gotten this far.
There's a lot to learn from this piece and from Patricia Nickles.
She is an inspiration for younger entrepreneurs.
For our next piece, Patrick Hall has prepared a biography of a fellow classmate, Aramis Guyton, and his wrestling career.
Great wrestlers come and go, but the masters are etched in stone. Today I'm going to be interviewing Aramis Guyton, talking to him about his wrestling history. He is a senior at IHS. His stats last year was 6 wins, 8 losses, 4 pins, 0 techs, 0 DQs. And his stats this year was 10 wins, 5 losses, 7 pins, 0 tech. I'm here today to talk to him to get more information on details about his wrestling career, why he got into the game, how has he prepared himself and tested himself to become great like The Rock. So Aramis, what made you start wrestling towards the end of the school year?
Well, I started 11th grade year. At first I was just thinking like, oh, I'll do it, because I was already interested in MMA, and I got tired of boxing because it was like I can't use my whole body, and I wanted to learn how to work the rest of my muscles, and I also wanted to get in better shape. I started wrestling simply because I thought it would get me in better shape for football, but I actually fell in love with the sport. Sometimes I wish I would have started earlier when I was like a little kid, when I was like 4 or something. I'd be in a different place right now, but I did pretty damn good for somebody who's a 2-year wrestler.
That's good. What's your motivation in wrestling?
My motivation, honestly, is experience, and I really like experience with wrestling things in life. Wrestling can metaphorically be applied to a lot of things in life, like simple technique of keeping your head up so you can't be snapped down to the mat. Keep my head up everywhere I go, man.
That's good. How did you deal with your injury and breaking your forearm?
11th grade year, week before sectionals, I broke my arm. I dealt with it by, it was hard, man. Honestly, I dealt with it a few bad ways I shouldn't have, but I overcame those addictions, and I just came back harder and worked harder.
Okay. How does a wrestler lose weight rapidly in order to participate in your matches?
Oh man, here we go. We got it's a lot of different ways to do it. I mean, people always go crazy like, oh, they're losing so much weight. All you honestly have to do, man, really, is just work hard, man. Eat properly and work hard, and you'll get down to the weight you want to. I mean, sucking weight and cutting weight is different. So say if I was 203 pounds, obviously they give us a certain weight class. Well, people don't know this, but they give us a certain amount of weight we're allowed to cut before it becomes unhealthy. So people always would think like, oh, wrestlers cut unhealthy amounts of weight, but truth is, in most areas now, they change the weight class numbers. So when you cut weight, you're at a healthy weight for your body size. And I was just telling you like with what they did, but how you said is really you just work hard, man, and eat properly.
All right. What was one of your greatest challenges during your career?
Believing in myself. That was the hardest one.
Oh, you heard it from Aramis. I'm Patrick Hall. What I learned from Aramis Guyton, a wrestler at IHS, is that hard work, willpower, and determination are key sets to being successful in life, but in this case, wrestling. I'm Patrick Hall with WRED, Red Eye, logging off.
Thanks, Patrick. Aramis is a pretty cool guy with an impressive work ethic.
Hard work and determination is important. Sometimes determination causes people to do things that most people wouldn't do, like volunteer at a prison.
That's right. Speaking of which, Ploy went out and interviewed Mrs. Seifert, a math teacher at IHS who, while teaching, also volunteers at Auburn Correctional Facility. Let's go to Ploy and learn a little bit more about this veteran teacher of the high school math department.
There are always those teachers in school that everyone knows and admires. Well, I spoke with Miss Seifert, an Algebra 2 and AP Stats teacher at Ithaca High School, and also a teacher that I admire very much. Not only do I admire her, but all of her students love and admire her as well. She's a great teacher that can keep the class engaged in the day's lesson, and is also someone that students can talk to about anything. She gets along with all of her students and helps out in any way that she can.
I always wanted to do something in the legal system. I wanted to be a lawyer. My mother strongly discouraged that because I didn't like history in high school. So I think it's just, I've always had the desire to help people, which I think is why I ended up in teaching after I didn't get into the criminal justice program. So I was adopted when I was right from the hospital, like 5 days old. I've met my biological family, and I'm pretty confident that growing up in that household wouldn't have been as good for me as growing up in the household in which I was adopted into. Probably the biggest thing when I went to college the first time, when I was an actuarial science major, over winter break that year, over Christmas break, one of my best friends committed suicide, and that was really why the second semester didn't go so well for me, and I ended up dropping out of that and changing majors, and I mean that really changed the course of my life. I probably would have been an actuary if that hadn't happened. I think I would have continued to do well in school because I did well first semester, but second semester not so much. I'm satisfied with teaching. That's the part of the job I really love, is actually being in the classroom and the teaching part. All my interactions with the kids are great. That's the best part of the job, and I absolutely love doing that part. This year I'm doing the data coordinator job, so I'm actually the data coordinator for a math department. So I've been given a 2-period release for that. So I only teach 3 classes instead of 5. I will occasionally chaperone dances and things like that. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Lots of people come to me when they have problems with the copier or technical issues. So sometimes I solve technical problems.
Along with teaching high school students, she also teaches students at another venue that most people would find kind of an intimidating place.
I teach at Auburn Correctional Facility through the Cornell Prison Education Program. I've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now. I taught essentially AP statistics up there for 2 years. That ended up being a 2-semester class each time. And then I TA'd the basic math class last year for a semester. And then I'm also this semester just starting to teach the college algebra class up there. So I go up once a week. The classes run for about 2 hours. So we'll go through the gate at about 6:30, get walked back. The classrooms are on the far end of the facility, so you got to walk through the prison yard on the way in and on the way out, which is also kind of interesting. On the way in, the prison yard's empty, and you get back to the classrooms. The classrooms are very primitive. There's no technology, obviously. So you got chalkboards, maybe a whiteboard in some of the rooms. The classrooms are set up so that the top half of the walls are all glass. So there's a security guard, a correction officer out in the hallway at all times, and there's one down there in the hallway in case anything goes wrong. There are panic buttons in the room, so if anything really goes wrong, you smack the panic button and the guys in the white shirts show up as opposed to the guys in the blue shirts. Which I've never had any problems whatsoever. I mean, I'm convinced that if anything happened, the biggest protectors would be the students in my class. So class will run from about 7 to 9 o'clock. The guys will start getting called back to their cell blocks. Lots of things can go wrong. Logistically, working in a prison is kind of a nightmare. I mean, it's not unusual to show up and either I'm not on the gate pass, which means I can't get into the facility, so I drive all the way up there and then I'm told to turn around and go home. Or we get all the way back to the school and it turns out the guys aren't on the call out for class, which means they're not allowed out of their cells to come to class. So then we have to be escorted back up to the front and we go home, and we've driven up there and spent all this time for nothing. That happens quite often. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But, it is what it is for working in prisons. Once I retire, I'd like to raise another guide dog puppy. That'd be cool. But
letting us know about this amazing person.
Our final biography piece today is by Red Eye segment producer Elijah Chen. He reported on renowned musician and teacher Sandy Runing, who has been working with talented young musicians for years in the Ithaca community. Let's take a look.
And we were the first, let's say, foreign performing ensemble to actually dare go to Japan.
Music plays an important role in everyone's life. We listen to music every day while driving to work, going to school, or doing daily chores. But what happens if music becomes a part of you? You live and you breathe it. Sandy Runing, the director of Ithaca Talent Education, did just that. He graduated from the University of Illinois and went on to do many great things for the Suzuki Association of the Americas, Ithaca College, and the area surrounding Ithaca, New York.
I think anybody who's passionate about whatever they do are influenced early on probably by two factors. One would be a teacher, and the other would be an environment.
During his early years, Mr. Runing met many people that would influence him. However, one particular moment in people stood out to him the most and would encourage him to bring the Suzuki movement to Ithaca.
So here were these little kids traipsing on the stage at the convention center in Philadelphia. And number one, they're all about, what is this, 4 feet tall or shorter. There was one girl who was 12. She played the chanson poème, which I struggled with in college. It's a very difficult piece. And then most of these kids were 6 or 4 or 7 years old, you know, they were little. So here was this Japanese who, you know, I wondered, how do they know our culture, number one? And I just felt strange, and all of a sudden they started the Nickles Sonata. And the tone that came out of these little kids was so incredibly beautiful that it just blew me away. And I looked around the audience. Here were people with tears streaming down their face. Some hardened old guys sitting there who taught at Juilliard or Eastman and all the big schools, you know, and they were sitting there so moved by this. So that I thought, oh my gosh, this is just revolutionary. Because here were kids playing at a higher level than any high school kids that we had. And they were like 7 and 8 years old.
Besides Ithaca, Sandy Runing has made an influence elsewhere in the world. His violin ensemble, the Heifetz Violin Ensemble, has been to 6 different countries, including Japan, Israel, Denmark, and Mexico. Over the past decade, Mr. Runing has made a tremendous influence on the Suzuki program in Mexico.
Well, as you know, our colleague here, Mr. Demek Augusto, comes from a city called Guanajuato, right in the middle of Mexico. It's in a very historic city. It's on the United Nations historic site, you know, because it was Spanish. The Spanish went in there and started mining silver. And so it became the center for producing mined silver in the whole world. And so people came there and they made a lot of money doing that, you know, and they built beautiful haciendas, beautiful buildings, beautiful concert halls and so on. And so Augusto said, we should go there, and there was a lady there doing a little bit of Suzuki teaching, so we went there and we did a little thing. And then subsequent to that, we went every year and started training teachers. So that's mainly what I did there, was just train teachers every year, and they came back, they took book 1, they book 2 the next year, book 3 the next year. And so we sort of peppered the whole country of Mexico with our trained teachers, you know, and we'd always take two or three of us down just to do the training. And then we took kids down to demonstrate, do recitals, things like that. You know, so it's gradually grown up to, and then last year they had their first conference of the whole country of Mexico. Mexico City has a lot of Suzuki-trained teachers there that we had worked with, so we'll meet some of those again when we go.
I really like Mr. Runing. He's a really fun teacher.
Sandy Runing first started violin in the small town of Wellsville, New York. The environment that surrounded him there encouraged him to continue his studies in music, first at SUNY Fredonia and then at the University of Illinois. During his college career and after, Mr. Runing has played for the likes of Leonard Bernstein and many notable groups. He has done work all across the United States and around the world, bringing young children the ability to be part of the Suzuki method. With his Suzuki movement, Mr. Runing has established one of the best private institutions for young children to learn string instruments, as well as one of the longest-running Suzuki institutes in the country. His accomplishments are not felt only in Ithaca, New York, but all across the world.
Oliver, I think it's time for some sports. I hear our spring teams are really shaping up for a successful season.
Indeed. Next up, we have Avon and Brian introducing us to this year's varsity lacrosse team. Let's see what they found.
The spring sports season has officially arrived at IHS, and one of its most talked about teams, the Ithaca varsity lacrosse team, is well prepared for it. In today's show, we'll be talking to some of the top returners from last year's team and asking them about their personal goals and their team goals. We'll also be talking to the head coach, Frank Welch, and asking him where he thinks the team is now and where he thinks the team will be later in the season. So I'm here with Aiden McCarthy. And Aiden, how long have you played lacrosse?
Since 8th grade.
What position do you play, and how long have you played that position?
I play midfield, and I've been playing it since I started lacrosse.
How did you prepare for the season?
Well, did a lot of lacrosse off season in like the fall, the winter, and the summer, and was working out a little bit. Yeah.
So, what are your personal expectations?
Be a good role model and help out the younger kids on the team, and then do the best I can.
Hi, and I'm here with Brooks Reed to talk about the boys' varsity lacrosse season.
Hello.
So, Brooks, how long have you played lacrosse?
I've been playing since I was in 7th grade, so probably around 6 years.
What position do you play?
I play defense.
How long have you played that position?
Well, when I first started, I was in 5th grade, and I played short stick. And then when my lacrosse career picked up, I started playing defense in 7th grade.
Okay. What are your season expectations for the team?
My expectations are pretty high. I know we have a lot of new kids and a lot of new roles to fill, but I really think that if we work hard and if we work together, then we can really achieve.
What do you love most about lacrosse?
I love the people you meet the most. You get to travel all around the country, you get to meet a ton of new people, and they're all really friendly, and you learn a lot of life lessons with them.
So I'm here with Charlie Estel. And Charlie, how long have you played lacrosse?
I've been playing lacrosse my whole life since I was about 5 years old.
So what position have you played in?
Well, recently, since I started playing varsity, I've been playing attack, but I played a whole bunch of different positions when I was younger.
So what do you love about lacrosse?
I don't know. I've been playing my whole life, so it'd be hard to imagine not playing. I love the pace of the game. I love just being out there with all my friends. Yeah.
So what are your personal goals for this season?
Obviously win the section. Hopefully make it to state championship again. Bring one home.
What are your team goals for this season?
Same deal. Just make it as far in the playoffs as we can.
So do you plan on playing college?
I do. I'm committed to Cornell University to play lacrosse, so I'll be joining the team next year and hopefully play all 4 years.
Today, we're here with
Frank Welch.
So, Frank, how long have you been coaching?
37 years.
Okay. It's a well-known fact that the boys' lacrosse team lost a lot of seniors last year. How is it going to impact the team this year?
Well, it's like every year you have a lot of quality players graduate, and the younger players have to step up into roles. But last year we had 26 kids leave, so it's about twice as many as we normally have. But we have a lot of quality kids coming back. I think the big difference is that some of these kids that are going to play this year will be their first chance to really be starters instead of being backups. But we're looking forward to it.
What do you think the major difference is between last year's team and this year's team?
Probably last year's team, there was a lot more experience, and the kids that are playing this year were backups. Our backups this year are relatively young, and some have never played lacrosse before, so they're just good athletes learning the game. So there'll be some growing pains for the team.
Which players stand out to you the most?
Right now, Charlie Estel is probably our best offensive player. He's playing really well. And then Matt Frick is playing, stepping into the goal. He backed up split time last year with the goalies, and he's doing really well. I would say probably Zach Pinney and Brian Okumo is really, tearing it up.
Which teams do you think will be your toughest matchups this season?
Well, we played 3 really tough teams out of Rochester in Fairport, Irondequoit, and Webster Thomas, which we haven't played in a while. So they'll probably be our toughest ones out of that area. And then Bishop Timon's probably the best team out of Buffalo area, and they're going to be really good. Down here, probably Corning and Vestal will be the tough teams for us.
The boys varsity lacrosse team is very well prepared for their season. And even though they're a very young team with little experience, they have a very high upside to what they can accomplish in the season.
Sounds like the boys' team is really shaping up.
Next, let's see what Zodi and Molly found in their investigation of the girls' lacrosse team.
I'm Molly Long, I play midfield. I'm going to Ithaca College. I'm Katie Carroll, I play midfield and I'm playing at Nazareth College.
I'm Lauren Duffy, I'm a midfielder and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Robert Senior, I play midfield and attack and I'm playing at St. Lawrence next year.
I'm Tonyan Groff, I play midfield and I'm a senior.
I'm Sadie Tilden, I play attack and I'm a senior.
I'm Audrey Brace, I play defense. I'm a senior and I'm going to Cornell University next year.
I'm Paige Johnson, I play defense and I'm a junior.
I'm Sam Brown, I play goalie and I'm a junior.
I'm Eva McClafferty, I play midfield and I'm a junior.
I'm Lauren Carr, I play defense and I'm a junior.
I'm Marcy Huddell, I play attack and I'm a junior.
I'm Jade Osachi, I play attack and I'm a junior.
I'm Brianna Johnson, I'm a junior and I play attack.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Wright, I'm a sophomore and I play midfield.
Hi, I'm Chelsea McNeil and I play midfield and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Julie Maiden, I'm a sophomore and I play midfield.
I'm Zoe Zervos, I play midfield and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Kylie Spedito, I play attack and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Adele Lawless, I play defense and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Maggie Burke, I'm a sophomore and I play attack or midfield.
With spring coming, the Ithaca High School girls lacrosse team is preparing to dominate Section 4. Coming off of a 10-5 record from last year, they plan on playing tougher opponents. Let's hear from the coach and some returning players about their expectations for the season.
This season, I certainly would like to return Ithaca High School to the sectional championship game and win it.
Beautiful.
Well, you know, with the weather the way it is, we're having a hard time just getting out on the field, so we'll be working on everything, from the opening draw to every skill necessary to win a game. You don't get better unless you play good teams, so we don't have a great deal of competition in Section 4, so I always try to get us a lot of good non-league contests. Well, you know, we have a number of solid seniors. Captain Molly Long, I expect great things from, and Katie Carroll has certainly come on very strong over the last 2 seasons. In addition, I do see Julie Maitland really stepping it up from a rather beginner player on the defensive end to moving into the midfield and really surprising some teams with her strength and speed. I also have great returning players and brand new goalies, so it's going to be interesting.
With Katie Carroll, a senior on the Ithaca High School girls lacrosse team. So, how have you prepared for the 2014 season?
Well, every day in tryouts we've been working out 7 to 8 a.m. in the workout room with the football coach.
And then for the rest of the season, we're going to be working out Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, really preparing ourselves, lifting weights, getting ready for the season.
Good. You lost 5 seniors last year. How will that impact your team this year?
Well, we did lose a lot of very main components of our team, but I think we have a really young team working together. We're a couple people, but we also gained a couple people this year. We're just going to work really hard and try to get to where we need to be.
This year?
We have 2 sophomores, Lauren and Kylie. They're going to be really stepping up this year to take positions of who we lost, and they work really well together. They also work really well with our seniors, so I think that'll be a great impact on our team.
What teams in the league do you think will challenge you the most?
I think our biggest challenger, who have always been, is Corning. Everybody knows that. They're really well, but last year we were pretty even with them, so hopefully we can be just as good as last year. I think that the new teams we're playing in the beginning of the season, they're going to be very hard for us, but they're going to prepare us for later games.
Come support the Ithaca Little Red on March 26th as they kick off their season against the Union Endicott Tigers.
Finally, we have a brand new contributor to the Red Eye, Vice President of the Board of Education, Seth Peacock. He looks into the hall monitor support staff at Ithaca High School in his first report. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Seth Peacock, and welcome to our first edition of Around Ithaca City School District with Seth. Hi, I'm here with Ithaca High School Principal Jared Powers, and we're about to interview some of your hall assistants. Can you tell us about their role and what they do at the high school?
Sure. The hall assistants do a lot of different things around the school. They cover study halls, they supervise the cafeteria and activities and other spaces on campus, and they really work to kind of build relationships with students in a way that they can, help them get to class and make good choices, regarding academics. They provide a lot of support during the school day with tutoring. They work with kids after school and provide some kind of structured support around their learning and their work in math and ELA. So they're a really integral part of our school community.
Can you tell us how valuable they've been in terms of reducing some of the numbers and in terms of cutting classes and things like that?
Yeah, so the relationship piece cannot be underscored, right? Having them in the building, working with kids, supervising them, supporting them in study halls, builds a lot of credibility between them and the students. And so when students are making poor choices about whether or not to go to class or whether or not to follow the rules, they're able to kind of call on them individually by name and say, hey, come on, let's do this together. And so that has been a real key part of the cultural shift that we've experienced inside the building.
Well, great, Mr. Powers. I'm going to go meet some of these fine hall assistants.
Great.
Hi, I'm here with one of our hall assistants, and tell us your name, please.
My name's AJ Barnes.
Hi, I'm Ian Valentine.
Seth Cameron.
April Mendez.
Mike Falzerano.
We're hallway assistants.
And what does that mean? What's your typical day like?
We walk around the hallways, escort kids to class.
Not too much ruckus going on, and just make sure everything's all right in the school.
We'll pull kids out of classes to go to the APs or the attendance office or whatnot. We'll monitor the cafeteria, activities building, that sort of thing. So,
they just know who I am, and I'm a person that they can come and talk to if they need be or anything like that.
And how long have you been doing that?
2 years.
This is my first year as a hall assistant.
Well, I've been with the school district for 6 years. I started off as a security guard. Then I went to Bell Sherman for 1 year and worked as an aide, and now I'm back here as a hall assistant.
And tell us how you build relationship with kids and how you help get them to class on time and things like that.
Well, I've grown up here in Ithaca, so I know a lot of the kids from the neighborhood. I know a lot of their parents, so on a personal level, I know a lot of the kids, and just kind of, get them where they need to be and have conversations with them as they walk.
Well, you try to get on a personal level with them, be friends with them, but at the same time also have them respect you, and to the point where they know if they do something wrong, that they get a referral.
I do. A lot of the kids, since they found out I was in nursing school, have started coming to me with other things. So.
Where are you at nursing school?
I go to GST BOCES in Elmira.
And when do you plan on graduating?
I graduate this June.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
I went to Southern Vermont College. I graduated college in 2012. And 4-year college, got my bachelor's in sports management. So eventually I want to be able, right now I'm coaching, I want to continue to coach, maybe eventually become a college coach, eventually maybe even an AD at some point. So I just want to continue to work my way up the ladder.
I have my bachelor's degree in history, and currently I'm at SUNY Cortland going back for my master's in childhood education.
And where'd you go to college?
I graduated from SUNY Cortland.
So in addition to working here, do you have any kids that are in the district?
I do. I have 2 young children that go to Fall Creek.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot for talking to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Great, Seth. Well, thanks for what you do, and thanks for talking to us
Thank
today.
you. Appreciate it.
Looking back, we've got some pretty interesting people and hard-working people in the community. We got to know a little bit more about some very interesting people around us, an introduction to the lacrosse team, and some pop culture to keep things up to date.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. For all of our work, I'm Parker Hubbell. Join us next time on the Red Eye from WRED.